Let me tell you something real. You don't get tired because you don't have time. You get tired because you don't protect your energy. Every single day life is pulling on you. People want your attention. Problems want your focus. Fear wants your confidence. And if you're not careful, you'll wake up one day exhausted. Not because you worked too hard, but because you gave your energy to everything that didn't deserve it. See, energy is currency. You spend it whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you investing it or wasting it? Some people wake up already defeated. They check their phone, compare their life, absorb negativity, complain before breakfast, and by the time opportunity knocks, they're too drained to answer. But disciplined people, they move different. They understand one thing. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control what you give power to. That's mastery. Master your mornings. If you start your day in chaos, you'll chase clarity all day long, but if you start with intention, with gratitude, movement, focus, you set the tone. You don't react to the world. The world reacts to you. Master your thoughts, because the conversation you have with yourself determines the direction of your life. If you keep telling yourself you're tired, you'll stay tired. If you keep telling yourself you're not ready, you'll never be ready. Change the story. Say, I'm learning. Say, I'm growing. Say, I'm getting stronger every day. That shift, that's energy reclaimed. Master who you allow around you. Not everyone deserves front row access to your life. Some people drain you, some environments shrink you. And sometimes growth means distance. Not out of anger, but out of respect for your future. You don't owe everyone your presence. You owe yourself your potential. Master your discipline. Motivation is good, but it's temporary. Energy comes from consistency. From doing the work when you don't feel like it. From showing up tired, scared, uncertain, and showing up anyway. Because confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes from action. And finally, master your purpose. When you know your why, distractions lose their grip. When your mission is clear, excuses sound weak. When you know where you're going, you stop letting small things knock you off course. Listen. The world doesn't need another distracted person. It needs focused ones. It needs people who know when to rest and when to rise. People who protect their peace, sharpen their mind, and pour their energy into what actually matters. So don't ask for more time. Don't wait for more motivation. Your mind is the command center of your life. Every action you take, every decision you make, every risk you avoid or embrace starts with a thought. That's why the conversation you have with yourself is so powerful. Most people don't realize they're in a mental battle every day, and the voice they hear the most is the one shaping their future. If that voice is negative, careless, or full of doubt, it quietly drains your energy long before the world ever gets a chance to. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself when things go wrong. Do you call yourself weak? Do you replay mistakes over and over? Do you tell yourself you're behind, not good enough, not ready? Those thoughts don't just stay in your head. They affect your posture, your tone, your confidence, your willingness to try again. Over time, they become habits, and habits, repeated long enough, become identity. But here's the shift. You don't have to believe every thought you think. You can challenge them. You can replace them. You can train your mind the same way you train your body. Strong minds aren't born. They're built through awareness and repetition. When a negative thought shows up, you don't panic. You redirect. You say, that's not helpful, and you choose a better response. Not a lie, but a stronger truth. Instead of saying, I can't do this, you say, this is hard, but I'm learning. Instead of, I always fail, you say, I've failed before, and I survived. Instead of, I'm not ready, you say, I'll prepare as I move forward. That shift doesn't sound dramatic, but it changes everything. It turns pressure into purpose and fear into fuel. Your thoughts also decide how much energy you bring into a room. Walk in thinking you don't belong, and your body follows. Walk in believing you've earned your place, and your presence changes. Confidence is not arrogance, it's alignment between what you think and what you do. When your inner dialogue supports your effort instead of sabotaging it, your energy multiplies. There will be days when motivation is low, when doubt is loud, when progress feels slow. On those days, your inner voice matters even more. You don't need hype, you need honesty and commitment. You need a voice that says, keep going, even when results aren't visible yet. That voice becomes your anchor. Over time, a disciplined inner dialogue builds resilience. You stop breaking down at criticism. You stop collapsing under pressure. You stop quitting at discomfort. Not because life gets easier, but because your mind gets stronger. And when your mind is strong, your energy stays steady, even in chaos. Master your inner dialogue. And you don't just change how you think, you change how you show up. And that changes the direction of your life. Time gets all the attention, but energy is the real game changer. You can have all the time in the world and still get nothing done if your energy is low. Think about it. Have you ever had a free day but felt drained, unfocused, unmotivated? The hours were there, but the power wasn't. That's because time doesn't move your life forward. Energy does. Energy is what turns intention into action. It's what allows you to show up fully, think clearly, and perform at your best. Every day, you wake up with a limited supply of energy. Not unlimited, not guaranteed. And once it's spent, it's gone. The problem is, most people spend it carelessly. They give it away to things that don't matter. Endless scrolling, unnecessary arguments, negative people, worrying about things they can't control. By midday, they're exhausted, not from hard work, but from wasted focus. Then they wonder why their dreams feel so heavy. High performers understand something simple but powerful. They protect their energy the way others protect their money. They don't say yes to everything. They don't react to every opinion. They don't let every inconvenience steal their peace. They ask themselves one question before committing to anything: is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, they walk away without guilt, because they know every yes is a trade-off. Managing energy also means knowing when to push and when to pause. Rest is not weakness. Recovery is not quitting. Even the strongest machines overheat if they never shut down. Sleep, movement, silence, and reflection are not luxuries. They are fuel stations. When you ignore them, your performance drops, your patience disappears, and your vision gets blurry. But when you respect them, your focus sharpens and your confidence rises. Your energy is also shaped by what you feed your mind, what you listen to, what you watch, what you repeatedly tell yourself. If your inner voice is constantly criticizing you, draining you, doubting you, it will rob you faster than any long workday ever could. But when you speak to yourself with honesty, discipline, and belief, you generate energy from within. You become less dependent on external motivation. Here's the truth. Success doesn't belong to the busiest people. It belongs to the most intentional ones. The ones who know where their energy goes. The ones who show up fully instead of showing up everywhere. When you start treating your energy as your most valuable resource, your life changes. Your work improves. Your relationships get stronger. Your goals feel closer. You stop running on empty and start moving with purpose. Master your energy, and time will start working for you instead of against you. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it's about punishment, restriction, or forcing yourself to suffer. It's not. Discipline is about freedom. It's the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel in the moment. When motivation fades, and it always does, discipline steps in and keeps you moving. That's where real sustainable energy comes from. Not from hype, not from temporary excitement, but from habits that don't depend on mood. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls. Some days you wake up ready to conquer everything, and other days you struggle just to get started. If your progress depends on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline removes that uncertainty. It creates structure. It tells your mind, this is who we are, this is what we do. And once your mind accepts that identity, action becomes easier. The first few days of discipline are uncomfortable. Your body resists change. Your mind looks for excuses. You feel tired, bored, even frustrated. That's normal. That's the old version of you fighting to stay comfortable. But if you push through that resistance, something powerful happens. Your brain adapts. What once felt heavy becomes automatic. What once drained you starts to fuel you. Consistency turns effort into efficiency. Discipline also protects your energy. When your routines are clear, you don't waste mental effort deciding what to do next. You don't negotiate with yourself every morning. You remove friction. You conserve focus. That saved energy can then be directed toward growth, creativity, and excellence. This is why disciplined people often appear calm under pressure. They've already decided who they are and how they operate. Small disciplined actions compound over time. Waking up at the same time. Showing up when it's inconvenient. Practicing when no one is watching. These actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but they build trust with yourself. And self-trust is powerful. When you know you'll keep your word to yourself, your confidence rises. You stop doubting your ability to follow through. That belief becomes a source of energy you can draw from even on hard days. Discipline doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest on purpose. It means you schedule recovery instead of collapsing from burnout. True discipline includes sleep, reflection, and renewal. It understands that long-term success requires balance, not self-destruction. People who burn out weren't too disciplined. They were undisciplined with recovery. Over time, discipline shapes identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying," and start saying, "This is what I do." That shift is everything. When discipline becomes part of who you are, effort feels lighter, progress feels inevitable. And energy stops leaking into excuses and starts flowing into results. Discipline doesn't shout. It doesn't need applause. It works quietly, daily, relentlessly. And if you stay with it long enough, it will take you places motivation never could. The environment you place yourself in has more influence over your energy than you may realize. It shapes how you think, how you feel, and how you perform, often without you noticing. You could be talented, motivated, and disciplined, but if the space around you constantly drains you, progress becomes an uphill battle. Energy doesn't exist in isolation. It responds to surroundings. Look closely at the people you spend the most time with. Conversations matter. If every interaction is filled with complaints, doubt, gossip, or excuses, that tone seeps into your mindset. You may not adopt their words, but you absorb their emotional weight. Over time, your ambition quiets down, your standards lower, and your energy fades. Not because you changed, but because the environment did. This doesn't mean you abandon everyone who struggles. It means you become intentional. You choose spaces where growth is normal, where effort is respected, where accountability exists. When you're around people who push themselves, who speak with purpose, who take responsibility for their lives, something happens inside you. You rise to the level of the room. Your energy sharpens, your vision expands. Environment isn't just people, it's places. The room you work in, the sound you hear, the clutter you tolerate. Chaos outside creates chaos inside. When your surroundings are disorganized, your mind has to work harder just to focus. But when your space is clean, intentional, and aligned with your goals, it becomes a source of calm and clarity. You don't have to fight distraction as much. It simply loses its grip. Your digital environment matters just as much. What you consume daily becomes mental nutrition. Constant negativity, comparison, and noise will drain you faster than physical labor ever could. But when you limit distractions and feed your mind with ideas that challenge and inspire you, your energy becomes more stable. You begin to think long-term instead of reacting moment by moment. There's also power in removing yourself from places that no longer serve who you're becoming. Growth often requires distance, not because others are wrong, but because you're changing. Staying in the same environment while trying to become a different version of yourself creates conflict. Sometimes the bravest move is stepping into unfamiliar spaces where you're challenged instead of comfortable. The right environment doesn't make things easy, it makes them possible. It doesn't do the work for you, but it supports the work you're willing to do. It gives your effort room to breathe and your energy a chance to regenerate instead of constantly defend itself. When you intentionally shape your environment, you stop relying solely on willpower. You set yourself up to win. You conserve energy, reduce resistance, and move forward with greater momentum. And once your environment starts working with you instead of against you, growth no longer feels like a fight. It feels like alignment. Purpose is what gives direction to your energy. Without it, effort feels scattered and exhausting. You stay busy, but you don't feel fulfilled. You work hard, but progress feels random. That's what happens when energy has no clear destination. Purpose doesn't mean having every detail figured out. It means knowing why you get up and try again. It's the anchor that keeps you steady when motivation fades and challenges multiply. When your purpose is unclear, distractions gain power. Small problems feel overwhelming. Opinions from others shake you easily. You start chasing what looks good instead of what matters. But when your purpose is defined, even imperfectly, your focus sharpens. You begin to say no to things that don't align, not because they're bad, but because they're irrelevant to where you're going. That clarity preserves your energy. Purpose turns pressure into meaning. Long hours, setbacks, and sacrifices feel different when you understand what they serve. You're no longer just working, you're building. You're no longer just struggling, you're preparing. Purpose doesn't remove pain, but it gives pain a reason. And when pain has meaning, it becomes manageable. People often wait for purpose to appear fully formed before they commit. That's a mistake. Purpose is revealed through movement, through trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. Each step teach you more about what matters to you and what doesn't. Energy grows when you're aligned with values, not when you're chasing approval or shortcuts. A strong sense of purpose also protects you during uncertainty. When results are slow and progress isn't visible, purpose reminds you why quitting isn't an option. It becomes a quiet voice that says, stay with it. That voice doesn't shout, but it's steady. And steadiness creates endurance. Purpose also elevates discipline. When your why is strong, discipline stops feeling forced. You don't rely on mood, you rely on meaning. Even on hard days, you show up because your actions are connected to something bigger than comfort. That connection fuels consistency. Over time, purpose evolves. It deepens as you grow. What drives you today may expand tomorrow, but the key is staying connected to something that matters beyond immediate rewards. When your energy serves a purpose greater than ego, fatigue has less control over you. Living with purpose doesn't mean every day feels inspired. It means every day feels intentional. Your energy stops being scattered and starts being invested. And when energy is invested wisely, progress becomes inevitable. Purpose doesn't just guide you, it sustains you.